Hi everyone, tonight I am making some lasagna soup and it's super easy. I mean, you pretty much just put everything in the pan and cook it up. So I've got our Brilliance 8-quart stock pot here that comes in the Brilliance cookware set. So if you're looking for some new cookware, I highly recommend this. It's really nice non-stick cookware, super easy to clean. And I'm going to says heat to boil, but I better grab my ground beef. You want to make sure that you do the make-ahead ground beef that you freeze and then just stick it in the refrigerator. Let it thaw overnight or put it in the morning before you go to work. But this is already cooked, so it saves you a lot of time, probably about 15 minutes of your dinner prep time, which is really handy. And just make sure you write the date on the front of there. And I still get confused about which burner's which on my stovetop. I usually use this one over here. But we're going to add some diced tomatoes. And this is our smooth edge can opener. It's kind of different than your traditional one. It doesn't cut. It's a little different because you put it on the top if you don't already have one of these. And you just go around the top of the can. This doesn't actually cut. This one's got a weird little dent or like edging on it. But you just go around the top of the can, and what this does is it just breaks the seal from the lid. These lids are, oh, this one's being goofy because it had this little ding in here, but normally it just lifts right off of here. I'm not gonna force it though. But you don't have any sharp edges, so we're putting 1 can of diced tomatoes in here. And since I bought everything else in these big containers, I'm just going to pour it into the can because it calls for 2 cans of beef broth. So I just thought this will be easier, and then I'll use this beef broth for something else this week, or freeze it. Of course, you want to put it into, I usually put it into some kind of freezer safe container. Oh, but it doesn't look like I'm going to have much left anyways. I think I'll just finish that off. That's probably about 2 cans worth, so I think I'm good on the other one too. Oh, I just used 1 can of tomato soup. And I found this roasted red pepper and tomato soup that was low sodium. We're getting old, so we try to watch our sodium. I don't know about you, but pretty much everybody really should. So pour 1 can of this in here. My husband loves tomato soup, so he'll probably want the rest of this. Okay, so there's 1 can of that. And then we're only going to use a 1/4 teaspoon of our Italian seasoning. I do write with a silver or gold Sharpie on the top of here what's in there because I keep my seasonings in bins. And love these measuring spoons. There's a set of 6, but one's in the dishwasher. Can't believe it's only a 1/4 teaspoon, but that's all we need. Sprinkle that in there. And let's see, we've got beef broth, the diced tomatoes, Italian seasoning, oh, and 1 can of milk. So what a good measuring device, huh? I guess I should have, I use these little paring knives. These are great. You can get a set of 3 of them, and they're much better than the ones that we used to have. A lot of times I'll use these to cut these kinds of tops off of here, just get a little start going. And you can already hear it cooking away in there. And I know I love some soup And this sounded really interesting, lasagna soup. So there's no cheese in here, but you can top cheese on it. Put the rest of this away. My husband is actually allergic to cheese, so I had to pick recipes that didn't call for cheese. And oh, where's my, oh well, I'll just use this since we're doing pasta, and it's good to stir it up with. And oh, in our rotating tool turnabout, we have a little spoon rest that comes right out of the bottom. So that's pretty handy. And then we're going to pour in our pasta. It calls for corkscrew pasta, 1.5 cups. And I found these. They're fusilli by Rayo's. Oops. So I thought, oh, that looks like corkscrew to me, right? Okay. So we need to let this come to a boil, which is probably going to take about 10 or 15 minutes. Let me check to see what they say about the cooking the pasta on here. I guess you should always check your package. It says 9 to 11 minutes, so keep an eye on the time. Then I can tell you about a few other things. I do love cheese, so I don't have to worry about running out of cheese because all the cheese in the house is mine, unless my daughter and her family are here. And my daughter loves cheese. And one of my granddaughters, she only eats Parmesan cheese because she says other cheeses upset her stomach. And I did Google that. And there are certain cheeses that are less sensitive, which you would think Parmesan is so strong that it would be one that would be more likely to bother you. I know if my husband has a Sprinter Parmesan, he's out for a few days. But anyways, this is our cup zester, and it's got tops on both sides, and you just pop that off. It's got a little piece in the bottom here that you can use. It's got little teeth that will grab it, and you can use it to rub Parmesan around on there, or a smaller piece of cheese or something. But on the bottom here, it's got this little windshield wiper that kind of, once you're done grating, you just give it a quick spin and it'll wipe everything away into the container. And this little container even has measure marks that goes up to 1/4 cup. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's kind of handy if you, depending on what you're grating, and you can even keep any leftovers right in here in the fridge. But I use this for cheese, lemon, lime, and orange zest, chocolate. I was trying to think of ginger, garlic, so many things. We do have the long, more traditional grater too. We have the zester and the grater, but you just zest this. Just doing it over top of a cup. I'm going to be putting it in here anyways, and see how much I want, because this will go on mine. That's starting to bubble away in there, but you don't end up with a mess anywhere, and you can actually see how much is in there. I hope you can see that. So then you know when to stop. But super easy. Kids could use this. And I know my son-in-law, he always saves the rind of the Parmesan to put into his marinara sauce. He's a good cook. I was not a very good cook years ago, but I've learned how to be a better cook, thanks to Pampered Chef. Let me show you. This is just bubbling away in there. So we'll give it a few more minutes until that's done. And So anyways, I did start my business 31 years ago, and I went to a party, and my friend Jo invited me, and she thought I needed a fun night out because I'd just gone through a nasty divorce. And I'm like, don't they cook at those things? She said, yeah, it'll be fun. You'll have a good time. And I did really have a good time. I was pretty apprehensive about even going because I thought, oh, paper chef parties are for people that cook. And I could cook a few things well, but I wasn't a huge cook. I mean, I put meals on the table, but I love these weeknight dinners done because they're so quick and easy to do. But anyway, so I started, I had a party, and then she kind of talked me into becoming a consultant. So I thought, what the heck, I'll give it a try. And ooh, that's looking good. Give it a try, and I thought I would just do it with my friends and family and be done with it. But I just kept getting people booking parties off of parties. And I think part of it was because I had, that's really boiling, probably a little too much, I think. These are such good heat conductors. But anyways, all 9 of my friends that booked parties worked with me when I worked at Farmers Insurance, and I thought, oh man, they are not going to have good parties if everybody invites everybody to work, or from work. So I thought, I'm going to work really closely with everybody and help them create a big wish or a big guest list of who they're going to invite, and invite from a wide variety of groups in their lives. And I just wanted to help them have good parties, but it ended up they kept booking parties, and I'd have like 2 or 3 different bookings, sometimes 4 or 5 from each party. And I really love doing the cooking parties. I'm not so fond of doing live, or well, videos like this. I would rather Zoom, and I can do Zoom parties too. Those are fun. But check this here. That's gonna be good. It's got, almost looks like a goulash to me, but with a soupy broth. So you can kind of see that. But anyways, I just kind of took it 1 year at a time for a while, and then I started earning trips, and I was making enough money that I could pay my car payment. And before you knew it, I was making enough to make a house payment, which I think it was about a year after I started that I bought the house that I'm living in now. And I got remarried, and my husband was the one who told me to quit Pampered Chef because it took up too much of our time. But after we talked a bit, and I was like, no, that's my fun job. That's my escape from corporate America. We decided I would quit my day job and turn Pampered Chef into my full-time job, which was a great thing because I earned, well, I still earn a vacation every year. I'm 68 years old now, so I really thought I'd retire by now, but I still enjoy doing this, and I love the incentive trips and all the other perks of earning new products and everything. So anyways, if you think this is something that you might want to give a try, reach out to the person who invited you to this group, and talk to them a little bit more about it, because we just like to try to help people, not talk you into doing this, but find out if this would be a good fit in your life. And I've had people come and go as many as 10 times because it's something that they know they can come back to and make a little extra money for a while, or easily turn it into a full-time job. Let's see, what else? Okay, so they suggest to serve this with some fresh grated Parmesan and some crusty bread. And I was going to make a salad too, but I'm feeling a little under the weather, so I think this is going to be it for dinner for us. And oh, I wanted to show you. Well, first of all, these tools are amazing. I love that they're silicone coated, so they do a really good job of getting all the food out of the pan. This is one of my favorites. This is our ladle, and you can see this side has draining holes, and this side just has a pour spout. So my husband is not a broth lover, so he'll drain off the broth back into the pot and then serve from the other side. So it's kind of nice for things like that. Gosh, I think this is probably going to take another 5 minutes, but check one of these pastas and see. I remember one of my very first parties that I did, there was this little girl, I think, well, it was my very first party. There was a little girl named Mallory there. She's one of my best friend's daughters. And she was probably only, I don't know, eight at the time. And she raised her hand at the end of the party and she said, "How old do you have to be to have a Pampered Chef party?" And I'm like, "I don't know, I guess you can have one. You just have to have your mom's permission." She looked at her mom and she said, "Mom, I'm having a Pampered Chef party." And she wanted the pasta fork. Oh yeah, a few more minutes. She wanted the pasta fork because they're Italian. And one day after she, it was a couple months after her party and everything. Oh, and she was kind of smart. She invited a couple of her friends, but mostly she invited her aunts and like her school teacher and a few neighbor ladies. So it was kind of fun. But one day, my friend Tony, she picked up Mallory's backpack and she said, "Mallory, what is in this backpack?" And she's opening it up and looks inside. She had earned the apple peeler core slicer. Unfortunately, that's been gone for a few years. But she was taking it to school and charging the kids $0.25 to do their apples. And Tony took it out of her bag. But I thought that was pretty cool. She was being a little entrepreneur. She's all grown up now and has kids of her own. But, all right, well, I guess that's it. Our soup is just boiling away. Gosh, that pan really boils. So, anyways, I hope you enjoy the rest of your weeknight dinner meals, and reach out to your consultant if you need any products or any more pantry items. Oh, I should say, this is probably one of my most used seasonings because I love Italian seasoning and all kinds of different things. Excuse me. Anyways, enjoy your meals. Bye.